It's an exciting feeling, this thing that they call the Holy Spirit. Now, I'm not going to say I've ever really felt it, at least not as a Christian. I've never felt what they call the Holy Spirit. But I felt inspiration, and that's what I think it really is. Now, where does inspiration come from? Where does inspiration come from? Some outside source? The sky? Yahweh? Ra? It's almost hard to believe that it can come from you because it's so powerful. But that's why it's so deceptive. How could something so great come from within you? How can you produce a feeling so powerful that gives you the ability to do things that you never thought you could do? To create things that are truly just something awesome. Believe it or not, it's within all of us to do anything, to create anything we can imagine. Maybe not do everything we imagine. I mean, some things really are just impossible. You know, if you have a missing arm, you can't just grow it back. I had someone raging at me in a past video because I said anything you can imagine you can do. And he had some kind of a medical condition, and he decided to blame me for it or something, but I didn't injure him. Didn't injure anybody, and if I did, I'm sure he deserved it. Not that I'm saying he did, but if I did it, would have been because he deserved it. But no, I wouldn't do that. Inspiration, though. It's not something that I even really ever felt until after I stopped calling myself a Christian. And it's then that I really started to understand it. And maybe even harness it. I do a lot of writing, and there are times when it seems like what I'm writing is beyond my control, like it's happening outside of me. And it's a really awesome thing. It's like I'm not so much an author of a fictional story, it's more like I'm a reporter of fictional events. But it's so easy to be fooled by strong emotions because we want to feel those things. We want to feel powerful, positive emotions. And so we start to connect them with the things that we were thinking about when they happened. It's, that pattern-seeking behavior that people seem to have. But it doesn't always work. And that's when people say, oh, the Lord moves in mysterious ways. Well, that's a cop-out. What they're saying is they don't understand one thing about this force that they worship, this imaginary force, and they're not brave enough to admit that it doesn't exist, but they know it doesn't. Otherwise, they could show it to you. Otherwise, they wouldn't need faith. They don't really want faith. They don't want to settle for that. They want proof. That's why they look in the Bible. That's why they look at these passages and say, this is proof that they knew the earth was round, and that proves that God told them to. God told them to. God told them it was. Yahweh told them it was. They're looking for proof of their own beliefs as much as any scientist is looking for the age of the universe, the age of the earth, all the things that they look for. But where they're looking is so small. It's a big book as books go, but there's only so much in it. Whereas those who are open to other possibilities have the entire universe. There are no boundaries that we know of. even at distances that would take billions of years to cross, traveling at the fastest speed that's possible. Now that's something that's always kind of bugged me. That the speed of light is the fastest speed that's possible. I don't know, I guess I don't quite understand it. But I'd like to. I'd like to understand exactly why the speed of light is the fastest speed there is. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that at that speed, matter is converted to energy, which proves that matter is energy. But the attitude of Christian fundamentalists, and maybe fundamentalists of other religions, I'm not really sure, is just like that of a teenager going through his or her first love. They're feeling things that for the first time that are just overwhelming. And they think that this feeling means the thing they believe in is real. But they don't know. They're believing from ignorance. They don't know about these emotions they're feeling. They're not experienced with them. And so their mind is fooled by them. It is so easy for the mind to succumb to emotions. And it's because the will is so strong. Even in a thing like Christian fundamentalism, the will reigns supreme. You want to believe the things that make you feel good. And so you ignore all evidence to the contrary, and you make things up in order to support beliefs that you know make no sense, but you can't let go of them. But you know, sometimes Old Yeller gets rabies and you have to let go. Even if it was a good dog once. Less obvious among the pleasant emotions is hate and anger. Anger is an empowering thing. And people tend to store their little frustrations, at like batteries. And sooner or later, it comes out. A lot of people, I guess, have so much frustration built up that they can't help but let it out in small amounts too. And it leads them to do things that are wrong, things that they know are wrong, but they use their faith to give themselves an excuse to do things they know are wrong. Now, I'm not saying that they know there is not a God, because a lot of people believe that it's impossible to know. And maybe they're right. But if we never find out there is one, isn't that just as good as there not being one? And they don't take responsibility for what they even admit is a bad nature, sinful, evil nature, which I don't think they have. We just lose our way so easily.